My name is Doug from SM Web Solutions, and today I'm going to show you how to use an AI coding assistant that lives in your terminal. This is my Mac terminal. It's where I give it commands and where I can build software. It's also known as a CLI, command line interface, and we are particularly going to be focusing on Google's Gemini CLI coder. So Gemini CLI, we're going to build a little website for, as an example, to actually show you the power of this coding assistant. It can build extremely complex systems, rather simple little websites, all the way through and anything in between. Right, so we are here in our terminal. I'm going to first of all create a directory for this project, and this little website, it's a one-page HTML website for an animal shelter website. And the idea would be that they can use it for bringing in donations and all sorts of little interesting aspects about them, contact details, etc. So I'm changing into my directory, and then I'm going to run Gemini. There are instructions in the description about how to install Gemini CLI for Mac, and that's what I'm using here, or for Linux, or for Windows. Right, so firstly, do you trust this folder? I say trust this folder. Yes, indeed. So basically, it allows Gemini to execute commands in this folder. Security feature to make sure that it doesn't accidentally change files higher up in my file system. So because if it can do that, then it can inadvertently hurt my system and other projects that live on my machine. So here we go. This is Gemini CLI, and here is an input box where you type your prompt. So yeah, I can actually type a Linux command, a terminal command. PWD is print working directory. So in other words, which directory am I currently in? So when it creates the website files, which directory is it going to store them in? And the answer is as follows. It should be back any second now. We also see this purple line. Okay, that's the status. I'll get back to that. So the current working directory is users Douglas Bailey /mydev/animal shelter website. That is correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it my prompt. Build me a professional looking website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. It is for an animal shelter in order to raise funds. It needs these sections: about us, contact us, what we need, who do we serve. It must be a single HTML file only, along with a CSS and a JavaScript file. CSS is for styling, that's formatting of the website, so it's your colors and your fonts and the font sizes. And then CSS itself stands for cascading style sheets. And a JavaScript file. JavaScript is client-side programming code that can run. So we use that for form validations and animations and all such interesting stuff that requires some programming to be executed. I also then say here in the prompt, do not have a contact form, a contact us form, but instead list the email address, telephone number, and address. The email address must have a copy button next to that, which when clicked will copy it to the clipboard. I will host it myself. So basically I'm saying it must have a copy button next to it that when clicked will copy it to the clipboard. So that then makes it easy for people to then use the email address because it's easy to copy it. They can then just open up a new email and send the email, paste the to address. And then I'm finally saying I will host the website myself. So it must just give me the files. I'll then actually copy those to wherever it needs to go in order for it to go live in the internet. Just so that, so it's going to be simple. It's not going to need any complex hosting in this solution, as I will do that myself. I will handle it myself. Right, we press enter. So this purple little line here, that's your status line. So as long as it's doing this, it's showing you that it is still busy working. There's a timer which is counting up, 14 seconds at the moment. So currently it tells you it is analyzing the project requirements. It just had a look at what is in this current directory. It noticed that it's empty. I will now check the current directory to see if they're empty before starting the website build. So it wants to see what's there before it actually starts building it and starts adding files to this directory. Because if it does find an existing website in there, then it will ask about that. Should it overwrite? Should it do something from scratch? Okay, so what it does is it basically asks us for authorization. Action required. It's going to do this. It needs to write a file. It needs to write specifically to index.html, a new file. So it needs to create this file. I can give it one of four options. Number one, allow just this once, this particular write file command. Or number two, allow it for this whole session. Number three, modify with external editor. So I can then actually go and edit that file in VI or Nano, whatever editor, text editor. Or number four, don't do that. So don't apply that command, but instead I will tell you what to do. I'm going to go with number two. I'm fine with this command. It needs to run this to do its work, and it's going to then authorize a write file for this whole development session. So it won't ask me again if it's okay for it to do a write file. Right, initiating the build. I will now create the file. There we go. Right, and here we go. It comes back and it says, I will now create the CSS, the style.css file to define the website's visual style, focusing on a clean professional aesthetic with modern typography and responsive layout. And before that, it actually created the index.html file. I will now create the index.html file, incorporating the requested sections and linking the necessary CSS and JavaScript files. Then it wrote the CSS file, and then it wrote the JavaScript file. I will now create the script.js file. So one of the benefits here is that of using a CLI, coding assistant, is that we can easily go back and check the full history. What exactly did I ask it to do? What did it then reply with? All sorts of things. So I love that. So there's much less copying and pasting between some external website, some AI coding, either a website or an application or program. Copy paste, copying code into your terminal, run it, then take the output, like if there's an error, then copy and paste that back into the AI coding tool. This is much more elegant. Because it can actually create the files where they need to be in the correct directories, and it can also then run Linux commands, system commands, which can do all sorts of things, including installing software. So this is a much more autonomous way of doing AI-based coding, or vibe coding as they call it. Right, then it created the JavaScript file. And I've successfully, so there we go. It says it successfully created all those three files, providing the entire animal shelter website. There we go. Comes back, modern design, contact details, Okay, interactive email, copy. Great. The website is ready for you to host. You can open index.html in your browser. So what we can do is, on many systems, I can just type open index.html. And it will then open that HTML file in my default browser. And it should pop up any second now. So sometimes like the searching for the correct USB orientation. So just to show you that it's still working, it gives you little funny lines like this. You know, this isn't actually true. This is just a bit of humor. Letting the thoughts marinate. You see, it's a bit of humor to keep you smiling while we are waiting for it to come back. Okay. It should come back pretty soon. What we can actually do is we can go in there and see what it actually did. There we go, the 3 files it created: index.html, style.css, script.js. I'm now just going to use the open command, and there we go. Right. Pause and hearts is what it called the website. We can interactively go and change this. For example, I'm going to ask it to change the name to Pets Delight. Okay, so basically, okay, it did then open that. Okay, that's fine. I've opened up the website. It then wrote a development status file. That's basically for itself or for humans to keep track of what the CLI coder actually did for this project. There we go. Okay, so I gave it the prompt, changed the name to Pets Delight. It's busy working on that. So, right, about us. It scrolls to about us, what we need. Beautiful. Icons, beautiful. Who we serve. Nice. And look at all of these amazing photos. So even though I didn't provide it with photos, it actually did go and fetch some photos online. They are royalty free, so there's no payment required. And yeah, they're beautiful photos. And for the information that I did not provide to it, for example, the email address and so forth, it will generate sample text, sample content, which we can then go and refine subsequently. We can then actually tell it to change this to, you know, the actual email address for this animal shelter. Similarly, we can ask the AI to then change the telephone number and so forth. Let's go back here. Okay, it will update index.html with the new name of the shelter. It's Pets Delight Animal Shelter. And it's changing it all over. It's in the copyright notice at the bottom. It's also in the header at the top of the website. So it's having a look through all the files, all the places in the HTML file where it mentions the name of the company. So there we go. Okay, so it's under a bit of stress at the moment. So the actual Gemini system, because it's extremely popular, these AI coding assistants are becoming extremely popular. Right, okay, there we go. It has edited the development status file now, renamed the shelter to Pets Delight. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Pets Delight, it has been changed there. It has been changed in a number of places. In About Us, there, this footer. Now this footer is very dark. Can't see, so there's not enough there is not enough contrast there, so I'm quickly going to ask it. Well, I think we're actually going to finish the demo here. So right, there we go. We got our website. We didn't have to type anything, and it is ready then to put on the internet and to host. So yes, any further changes you can just ask the AI to do, and it will make for a happy day of website development. So my name is Doug from SM Web Solutions, and I hope you have an awesome day and enjoy vibe coding. But yes, with great power comes great responsibility. So if you use these AI coding assistants, then you must know how to properly test the website or the system or the software that it has developed for you to make sure that it has in fact aligned with your requests. So enjoy, and we will chat soon. Bye.